Peace, YouTube. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays for Wednesday, January 21, 2026. Today is the best day in history to be alive. Today is the best day in history to be alive. So we welcome everyone to Winning Wednesdays. Today we are live on StreamYard, YouTube, and Dr. Boyce's X channel. So we welcome everyone across all three platforms. My name is Errol. I'll be your host today and every Wednesday for Winning Wednesdays, where we discuss current events in the financial markets. We are going straight to the money. Okay. We are cutting out all middlemen. We are cutting out HR. We are cutting out Santa Claus. We are cutting out the politicians. We are cutting out all the begging. We are cutting out all the subordination. We are cutting out all the ass kissing, and we are going straight to the money from the jump. So that's the idea here on Winning Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, noon Eastern, we go live to discuss where the wealth and power are. So as you come in, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're from as you come in. Who do we have? Drop where you're representing. Where you're representing. Today in my notes, I got several things I want to discuss. As you may know, the World Economic Forum is currently going down in Davos. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about earnings. I wanted to talk a little about Trump and his tariffs. I've got several YouTube shorts I wanted to share. What else? Let's see here. A couple of reminders we're going to get into. I saw a very interesting short on Elon Musk becoming the first person to worth $800 billion. I'm going to see if I can find that video and share that. I've got an article from Amazon I wanted to show. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy I wanted to share. Let's see what else here. But before we get into all that, let's see how current market's doing. Let me check current market. Okay, so mix of green and red so far today in the markets. Mix of red and green. S&P up slightly. NASDAQ up slightly. AMD I see is on fire. AMD is on fire. Okay, Amazon 228, Broadcom 325. Microsoft, another interesting one. Microsoft in the 440s. Okay, Microsoft 444. Not too long ago, it was up near 550. Okay, so Microsoft currently at 440. NVIDIA 180. What else do we have? Netflix, another one I want to talk about. Currently 83. Tesla 423. So that's where we stand as of 12:03 p.m. Eastern. All right, so who do we have? We have Sheila. Shout out to Sheila. Clifton, Maryland. Okay, DMV in the building. Peace to Sheila. My guy Howard, Austin, Texas. Texas, one of the a very interesting state, Texas. Okay, tax friendly, I believe. Texas is very tax friendly, from my understanding. Shout out to Texas. Shout out to Howard. All right, so let's see what we have. Let's get right into it. Let me share my screen right quick. I want to share what I was looking at a minute ago. Let's see here. Share screen. Okay, so the market's a little choppy today. First, it started off red, then it was green. Now it looks back to a mix of red and green. So this is what we're looking at. This is what I'm looking at. S&P 680, SPYX 680, VTI 336, triple Q 610, Apple down to 245, AMD. Let's maybe take a look at AMD. That's an interesting one. Up 6.5% or $15 to 247. Amazon down to 228. Bitcoin currently at 87.8. Bitcoin at 87,008. Okay, that's another interesting ticker. Google 327. Eli Lilly and NVIDIA are now doing business with each other. Let me see if I can find an article for them. Meta down to 609. Well, up to 609, but it was down overall last couple of days. Okay, so there's Tesla on the bottom there. Maybe you can see Tesla. See if I can scroll down. Tesla on the bottom there. TSM 327. ExxonMobil, all-time high at 332. Yeah, ExxonMobil. Okay, all-time high at 132. What did I say? 332? I meant 132. Okay, so that's a live look at market. Live look as of 12:05 p.m. Eastern. Okay, Let's get right into it. Okay, I want to share first thing on the schedule here is Trump and his tariffs. Okay, so I found a very interesting article from Business Insider here. Let me see if I can share this. Can I share this? Cancel. Let me see if I can share this. Let me see if I can pull it up elsewhere. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up elsewhere. Would it let me read? Okay, hopefully it lets me share. Does it let me share? No, it doesn't let me share. All right, let me just Google tariffs. News. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, let me share this screen right here. Stop sharing that one, share this one right here. Okay, so here's a live look at Google's. I just literally searched tariffs. Check out some of the news here. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is a Politico. Trump's Greenland tariffs could squeeze Hill Republicans. Dow closes 870 points as Trump threatens tariffs on European countries. I wanted to find out the right article I was looking at. Maybe we check that NBC one. All right, let's check this NBC article right here. EU halts approval of U.S. trade deal. Let's see what this one says here. A top European trade official said he supports deploying a powerful set of retaliatory measures, sometimes referred to as EU's trade bazooka. The European Union's legislative body on Wednesday halted work on formal approval and implementation of the trade deal it reached last summer with Trump. Given the continued and escalating threats, including tariff threats against Greenland and Denmark and their European allies, we have been left with no alternative but to suspend work. The announcement came after Trump on Saturday said he would hit 7 European Union countries, plus the UK, with tariffs if they did not allow the US to control Greenland. The core of the deal was a cap on US tariffs applied to most imports from the EU at just 15%. The rate was among the lowest received by any trading partner last year. The total trading relationship between the U.S. and EU was worth 1.5 trillion in goods and services annually. The U.S. imports more than 600 billion in goods from the bloc each year on average, while Europeans buy more than 360 billion of U.S. goods, according to data from the U.S. Trade Representative. Okay, but all that changed with Trump's Saturday's tariff threat. During his own Davos speech, Trump said that the U.S. would not use force to seize Greenland, but he did not make his threat of a 10% tariff starting 2-1 off the table. Okay, nonetheless, it's totally clear that this 10 to 25% tariff pressure, he is like really getting into a new quality of relation. As long as Trump's tariff threat remains in place, there will be no possibility for compromise. All right, let's check a couple articles. I wanted to see if I can find some. Let's see here. Stocks plunges terror. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Actually, let me go straight to the Amazon article I have. It relates to this tariff. Very interesting article from Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. So let me see if I can share that one. Let me see if I can share this one right here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yep. Here we go. All right, so this is from Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. Amazon CEO, prices have gone up from tariffs. Okay, so one of the top executives in America, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, prices have gone up from tariffs. So let's see what he's saying. If your next Amazon order seems more expensive, President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs may be partially to blame, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said Tuesday. Like many realtors, Amazon and its vast network of third-party sellers loaded up on inventory ahead of Trump's tariffs rollout last spring. But that supply ran out by fall, Jassy said in CNBC interview on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. So you start to see some of the tariffs creep into some of the prices, some of the items. Some sellers are deciding that they're passing on those higher costs to consumers in the form of higher prices. Some are deciding that they'll absorb it and drive demand, and some are doing something in between. The comments are a stark shift from last June when Jassy said in a CNBC interview that the company had not seen prices appreciably go up. That was after Amazon drew the direct ire of Trump and members of his administration following reports that the e-commerce giant planned to display how tariffs were impacting prices. After Trump spoke with Amazon founder Bezos at the time, a company spokesperson told CNN the move was never a consideration for the main Amazon. It was only being considered for certain products on its spin-off site, Haul, which sells items below $30. On Tuesday, though, Jassy said, we're going to do everything we can to work out with our selling partners to make prices as low as possible for consumers. All right, so let's see here. The average tariff imposed by America has increased by almost tenfold under President Trump, and inflation has continued to cool from Biden-era highs. The administration has consistently maintained that foreign exports who depend on access to the American economy, the world's biggest and best consumer market, will ultimately pay the cost of tariffs, and that's what's playing out, he added. All right. Amazon isn't the only retailer warning of higher prices because of tariffs. Walmart, Target, and Home Depot and many other companies have publicly said tariffs are making products more expensive. And while overall consumer inflation was modest last year, many businesses surveyed by the Fed in the latest Beige Book, a collection of anecdotes, warned they're planning bigger price hikes this year. Okay, so this is a very interesting article from CNN Business. Andy Jassy, Amazon CEO, prices have gone up from tariffs. Okay. Okay, so Andy Jassy, one of the leading executives in America, according to him, prices have gone up and are being passed to the consumer. Okay, so there's a very interesting article from CNN Business I wanted to share right there. What do you guys think about that? Are you guys shareholders in Amazon? Have you noticed Amazon prices going up? I'm part owner in Amazon. I use Amazon Prime almost every week. Several times a week I use Amazon Prime. Have you noticed prices gone up? I buy household items from Amazon, toilet paper, soap, detergent, what else? Toilet paper, paper towel, those kind of things, toothpaste. I shop on Amazon Prime on a regular basis. I have noticed some of these prices going up. So have you noticed your Amazon consumer goods? Have you noticed the prices going up? Okay, according to their CEO, prices have gone up. All right, so the first article I want to share, Amazon and Andy Jassy. Amazon and Andy Jassy. All right, let's see what else we have. Let's check some current headlines on Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance is a resource I check just about every day. Okay, so let's see here. Let me share this one. Okay, here's a live look at Yahoo Finance headlines. Let's see what we have here. Okay, Trump fires back at Europe, Canada, and Greenland. Tensions mount. Let's see what else we have here. I've got a couple of YouTube shorts I have on Jetson. AI frenzy jump starts largest infrastructure build out in history. What else do we have here? Stocks jump as Trump rules out force against Greenland. Johnson & Johnson, you might have known, I think they reported earnings yesterday, I believe it was. J&J's 26 guidance driven by exciting new product story. Okay, I'm going to get to the earnings a little bit. Trump's Davos address was a dud, ended up calming markets. President Trump spoke on a variety of topics, namely the proposed U.S. acquisition of Greenland. That was very interesting. I didn't know you can acquire a country just like that. I didn't know that was such a thing, but apparently it was. Let's see what this lady has to say.
At large. Steve, thanks to you as well for sticking around through that speech. So as someone who is there and who is talking to people in Davos, ahead of the speech, I'm sure you were talking to a lot of folks. What do you think those sort of conversations going to be like now that the speech has been delivered?
So, look, I want to be respectful of President Trump, but the speech, given the anxiety, was sort of a dud. People were thinking worst case scenarios. I mean, the anxiety levels in Davos have been through the roof. And of course, there's a giant delegation coming with President Trump that's been here. I mean, Scott Bessement's been here since Monday. Marco Rubio just got here. You've got other people. Howard Lutnick I saw last night. You have interesting people, Memenos. He brought so many people, giant U.S. delegation. And people just thought this was going to be a big American statement on something, leaving NATO, hyper-nationalism. He had some tough love for Europe in his speech, but really before this, this speech happened, we were warned by folks around the U.S. delegation, clear our schedules for Wednesday afternoon. President Trump is going to do something so big that it will take away our whole afternoon. And that clearly didn't happen. I mean,
all right, let's pause it right there. I got a couple of YouTube shorts I want to share regarding. You probably know many leading executives, many global leaders have been in Davos the last few days. Let me share Yahoo Finance's YouTube short page. I got several interesting shorts I want to share regarding Davos. Let me see if I can share this right here, including including the executive from the biggest company in the world. Share. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so several very interesting shorts on Yahoo Finance's short tab. Let's see here. Jamie Dimon gets real at Davos. This was an interesting short I watched. Jensen Huang's only regret. Let's see what Jamie Dimon says.
Ready? Here's your headline. I'm a globalist.
I'm not looking for a headline.
I've been coming to Davos all these years and listening to chatter and stuff like that. He didn't do a particularly good job making the world a better place. I think it's great we get together and talk. But what you want me to do, this is.
I wanted to answer my question. It's not hard.
Headline that gets raised up.
No, I don't. Jamie, that's not true. I'm genuine. I've asked you this question off camera.
I've made it clear. I want a stronger NATO, a stronger Europe. Some of the things Trump has done are causing that. Some are not. I'm not a tariff guy, though I'd use it in the 8 cases I had. I think they should change their approach to immigration. I've said it. What the hell else do you want me to say? Ready? Here's your headline. I'm a globalist.
I'm not.
Jamie Dimon, one of the biggest American bank CEOs right there. Actually, I think Chase is the biggest American bank. Let's see what Jensen has to say.
My only regret was at the IPO, after the IPO, I wanted to buy my parents something nice. And so I sold NVIDIA stock at a valuation of $300 million. The company was at a valuation of $300 million, and I bought them a Mercedes S-Class. It is the most expensive car in the world. They regret it.
Do they still have it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they still have it. Yeah. My only regret was at the IPO.
Is there a business lesson there? Is there a lesson there for us? Is there a business lesson there for us?
I wanted to buy my parents something nice. And so I sold NVIDIA stock at a valuation of $300 million. The company was at a valuation of $300 million, and I bought them a Mercedes S-Class. It is the most expensive car in the world. They regret it.
What's the business lesson there? Drop it in the chat. Is there a business lesson? What is it? Drop it in the chat. Let's see what else we have. Let's see what else Jensen says.
The first one is that the models themselves started out being curious and interesting, but they hallucinated a great deal. And last year, we can all reasonably accept that these models are better grounded. They could do research. They can reason about about circumstances that maybe they weren't trained on. Last year, we saw the evolution of language models becoming AI systems that we call agentic systems, agentic AI. The second major breakthrough is the breakthrough of open models. Open models has enabled companies and industries, researchers, educators, universities, startups to be able to use these open models to start something and create something that's domain specific or specialized for their needs. The third area that had enormous progress last year was the concept of physical intelligence, of physical AI. AI that understands not just language, but AI understands, if you will, nature. The first one.
Physical AI already here. Okay, physical AI already here. The future's here. Okay, the future been here. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The future been here. Okay, the future's not on the way. The future been here. Okay, the future's already here. Not so breaking news here on Winning Wednesday. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, so very interesting comments from America's leading executives out in Davos the last couple of days. Let me see. I've got one more I wanted to share here. Another leading executive, this time from Fortune Magazine's YouTube short page. Let's see if I can share this correctly. Let's see here. Fortune Magazine. Okay, this is another company I own. I'm a part owner in. So I always keep an eye on what this man is saying, as well as Jensen.
For this not to be a bubble, by definition, it requires that the benefits of this are much more evenly spread. I mean, I think a telltale sign of if it's a bubble would be if all we're talking about are the tech firms, right? If all we talk about is what's happening to the technology side, then that's it's just purely supply side.
Oh, give me 1 second. Let me reshare that. Here we go. Satya. Okay, go ahead.
Brought into the market that's super successful because it was AI accelerated the clinical trial. It's not even the magical molecule, right? It's kind of even the rest of what is needed in order to make something much more relevant, right? And by the way, it's happening, right? So I'm not sort of saying that. That's why I'm much more confident that this is a technology that will, in fact, build on the rails of cloud and mobile, diffuse faster, and bend the productivity curve and bring local surplus and economic growth all around the world, not just economic growth driven by capital expenses, because it's a narrow point in time calculation. It's
right now, that's what we're seeing more.
That's what we're seeing, in the developed world in particular. But remember, my capital, like that, the one thing that, is definitely we're spending a lot of it in the United States, but 50% of it is also all over the world. And so, interestingly enough, it depends on demand all over the world. And the demand all over the world will only be there if there is local surplus all over the world. And so that's sort of the way I see the equation.
For this, Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, I always keep an eye on what he's saying for my benefit, okay? Before I go focus on what the entertainers are saying, let me focus on what Satya is saying, because I'm part owner in his company. So I'm definitely interested in what he has to say. All right. So next thing on my list here, I've got an article from Forbes I saw yesterday. I read it yesterday, but the article is actually from 4 days ago. Let me see if I can share this one. Another person I keep an eye on, keep an ear out for what they're saying, because it directly impacts my net worth. So let me share this article right here. You might have seen this on Forbes recently. Let's see here. Okay, Elon Musk. Okay, you might have heard Elon Musk. See that the second article from top. Elon Musk closes in on $800 billion net worth after xAI's latest funding round. So let's see if we can read that article. right. The world's richest person added $62 billion to his fortune after private investors more than doubled the valuation of his AI and social media company at a quarter trillion. I believe 250 billion is a quarter trillion. Check my math, though. Check my math. Elon Musk is on the verge of becoming the first person ever worth 800 billion. Musk XAI Holdings raised 20 billion from private investors at $250 billion valuation earlier this month. That's up from the 113 billion valuation Musk claimed when he merged his AI startup XAI with a social media company X, formerly Twitter, last March. Forbes estimate that the deal boosted the value of Musk's 49% stake in XAI Holdings by 62 billion to 122 billion. The world's richest person by far, Musk is now worth a record 780 billion, according to Forbes' real-time billionaires list. So Elon Musk, uncharted territories, okay, uncharted territories. Mapping Musk's net worth milestones. Okay, 200 billion back, or 183 billion back in January 2024. 2 years later, now he's approaching 4 times that, 800 billion, or more than four times that. Okay, other billionaire investors in XAI who got a big boost include Saudi Arabia's Prince Al Walid bin Talal Al Saud, one of Twitter's earliest investors. Jack Dorsey and Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison contributed $1 billion to Musk's $44 billion takeover of Twitter in 2022. Let's see here. Musk has already achieved a number of net worth milestones over the past year. In October, he became the first person ever worth $500 billion after Tesla's stock price nearly doubled over the 5 months following Musk's announcement that he would be stepping back from his role as head of Trump's Department of Government Efficiency to spend more time on the EV maker. Then on December 15, Musk became the first person ever worth $600 billion after private investors valued his rocket maker SpaceX at $800 billion. Wow. Up from $400 billion in August. 4 days later, Musk became the first person ever worth $700 billion after the Delaware Supreme Court overturned the lower court ruling that had voided an award of Musk stock options now worth $126 billion to Musk. Okay, Musk, let me hold something. Musk, let me hold something. Hit me up. Let me hold something. Musk is now a record 510 billion richer than the world's second wealthiest person, Google co-founder Larry Page, who is worth an estimated 270 billion. Only one other person, Larry Ellison, has ever been worth 400 billion, and that didn't last long. Since achieving that milestone in September and coming within 40 billion of Musk, Ellison's fortune has fallen to 159 billion, dropping him from number 2 to number 5 on Forbes' real-time billionaires list. Okay, so Musk approaching $800 billion net worth. Okay, $800 billion net worth. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? How do you calculate net worth? How do I calculate my net worth? Anyone know how we can calculate net worth? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Okay, so Elon Musk approaching 1 trillion. I believe once his SpaceX company goes public, he's well over being a trillionaire. Okay, so he's well on his way to becoming a trillionaire. He might even become a trillionaire without SpaceX going public. All right, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? All right, I want to talk about some earnings. Okay, so earnings season is in full effect. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay, next week's definitely a key week in earnings, but let's see what's going on this week. Okay, here's a visual from Earnings Whispers. Shout out to them. Yesterday, Netflix after close. I want to talk about Netflix. Yesterday afternoon, Netflix, United. Yesterday morning, 3M. Earlier today, Johnson & Johnson, Ally Financial, Travelers Insurance. Later today, nothing major later today. Tomorrow, after hours, Intel, for those of you that own shares of Intel. Friday, nothing major. Okay, so Intel tomorrow. Procter and Gamble, P&G tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, Intel. So that's a look at earnings this week. Okay, next week is a very key week in terms of earnings, but this is a snapshot of this week's earnings. Do you guys own any companies? Do you guys own any of these companies? Okay, so that's earnings right there. Okay, earnings. All right. Let's talk scheduling right quick. Let's talk scheduling. Today, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Dr. Watkins will have his book club. That's the first thing. This Sunday, those of you in the Win Mastermind, we will meet. We'll have our bi-weekly meeting this Sunday. Those of you in the Win Mastermind, we will meet this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. During that meeting, we usually discuss option plays. I usually have an agenda. I purposely bring new content to those meetings every 2 weeks. So this week, let's check. Let me see what's on my. Let me check what's in my agenda for this week. A couple of new things I wanted to discuss during that meeting this Sunday. Let me give you a preview. Let's see here. Those of you in this week's study hall, Win Study Hall, I wanted to revisit tax harvesting. I wanted to discuss a new strategy, the per man's covered put maybe. I wanted to give a breakdown on Delta. And I also maybe wanted to present some examples of hedging your portfolio. Okay, so that's a quick summary on Sunday's study hall for the Win Group. Okay, so that's Sunday. What else we have? Two weekends from now, we will have the digital A, B, and C. 2 weekends from now, we will have the digital A, B, and C. That'll be on January 31st and February 1st. Here's the website if you're interested. Just go to, what website is this? Actually, I could drop this in the chat if you guys are interested. Check out this website for the A, B, and C digital, which happens 2 weekends from now. I just dropped that link in the chat. So that's 2 weekends from now. Let's see what else we have here. VIP 2-day main summit, live virtual experience via Zoom. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll be a part of one of these panels. I'll be a part of, I think, the first panel on Saturday, discussing crypto, let's just check the schedule right here. Day 2. Yeah, I'll be a part of this panel right here from Wall Street to Blockchain. Dr. Watkins will moderate. Myself, Lawrence, Naja, and Sense will be discussing Wall Street and blockchain. I'll discuss why I like options personally. Also, Constance will host the panel Keys to the Block, Real Estate Ownership, and as the new Civil Rights Movement, also on Saturday. Beyond Diversity, Dr. Lene will have host her panel. So that's on Saturday. And then on Sunday, let's see what's going on Sunday. Let's go back here, view schedule. Let's see if I can find Sunday schedule. Okay, so a couple more panels, a break, third panel, and then some closing remarks from Dr. Watkins. So that'll be 2 weekends from now for anyone interested. Check it out. Great way to get important information. Great way to connect with different speakers. Those of you that could not make the in-person, consider joining the digital version. All right, so that's the A, B, and C digital 2 weekends from now. All right. Okay, so that's a little in terms of scheduling. Book club, Win Group, A, B, and C digital. Okay, coming up in the near future. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's check the notes here. Let's go to the AI. Let's ask Microsoft Copilot. Let's see. Let's check Microsoft Copilot. I want to ask Copilot. Let's see here. Can I zoom it? Okay, so let's see here. What are key events in the financial markets this week? Let's see what Microsoft Copilot has to say. All right, hopefully. All right, maybe, okay, here's a little breakdown. U.S. economic events driving markets. Let's see what else it says here. T-bill auctions, global economic releases, European inflation. I think some of those banks reported last week. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. Yeah, this is last week. TSMC earnings, that was last week. All right, so it looks like Copilot's 1 week behind. Okay, Copilot, come on. Satya, get Copilot up to date. Okay, so looks like they're 1 week behind. All right, let me check some headlines on Market Watch. And then maybe even CNBC. Let's go to CNBC. Let's see. Check headlines on CNBC and Market Watch. Share screen. Okay, let's see what's going on with CNBC. Okay, yeah, major story. Trump and Davos. Europe is not heading in the right direction. Trump calls for immediate negotiations on Greenland, but rules out using force. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang says AI robotics is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for Europe. Gold breaks new record on Greenland tariff threats, 7,000 level on the cards. Crypto markets will reach all-time high this year, says Ripple CEO. Stocks making biggest moves pre-market. Netflix. Yeah, I want to pull up Netflix and see what's going on with Netflix. You guys might have known Netflix reported earnings yesterday after hours. Okay, that's a live look at CNBC headlines. Let me ask AI what's going on with Netflix. What happened to Netflix after earnings? Okay, so that's CNBC. Let's see what's going on with Market Watch. Okay, Market Watch. Let me stop sharing that one and share this one. Okay, Market Watch. Check any interesting headlines here. Fighting with Elon Musk has been great for business. U.S. stocks lose bulk of morning gains as NASDAQ briefly falls. Dr. Google is done. AI chatbots like OpenAI and Claude will change how we search for health information. Let's check this one. OpenAI and Anthropic are moving into the complicated world of health information. Will ChatGPT help or hurt patient health? All right, I can't read this article. Okay, but it's a very interesting headline there. This is actually one of the articles I want to talk about. Netflix stock remains under pressure as investors balk at forecast and Warner Brothers acquisition. Let's see what this one says. Despite beating expectations in Q4 earnings and targeting for growth next year, Netflix stock is seeing a sell-off as investors have doubts. Investors remaining unconvinced about a $82.7 billion to acquire the studio and streaming arms of Warner Brothers Discovery. Okay, let me see if I can pull up an article that we can read on Netflix. Okay, let me stop sharing that one. Let's go back to Copilot. Share screen. Okay, Copilot. Netflix dropped after earnings despite beating expectations. Across multiple sources, the reaction was negative, even though Netflix beat revenue and EPS estimates. Stock reaction: Netflix fell 45% in after hours and next day trading. Some reports show a drop of more than 5% as investors focus on forward guidance. Okay, why the stock fell: cautious 2026 guidance, concerns about subscriber growth, massive Warner Brothers Discovery deal. Netflix proposed an $82 to $83 billion all-cash acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, created uncertainty. Paused share buybacks, required bridge loans, would create about an $85 billion combined debt. Okay, earnings themselves were strong. Okay, so Netflix reported earnings yesterday after hours. Okay, do you guys own Netflix? Netflix is currently, let's see what Netflix is. Netflix is currently 83.38. Okay. Do you guys own Netflix? Are you guys subscribers to Netflix? Do you use Netflix? I have never been a subscriber to Netflix, actually. I've never had an account with Netflix. I have never had an account with Netflix. All right. Let's see if I can check CNN Business. Let's check CNN Business right quick. Check some of the headlines on CNN Business. Here we go. Okay, a live look at CNN Business headlines. Netflix revises its offer for Warner Brothers. Now it's all cash. EU freezes work on U.S. trade deal indefinitely after Trump's Greenland and tariff threats. Let's see what else we have here. Davos is confronting two problems. Trump might be the easier one. All right. Okay, so let's live look at CNN Business headlines. Okay, so that's what CNN Business looks like right now. All right, so let's check some comments. If you guys have any comments or questions, drop them in the chat. If you guys got any comments or questions, drop them in the chat. While you do that, let's see what else we have on the list here. Check my notes. Let's see. I'm going to check some headlines on Forbes if there's anything interesting. Let's see if it'll let me read this one here. Let me see if I have access to this. Yeah, it looks like I do. Let me share my screen here. An article on Google. Google, I think, is what, the second most valuable company in the world right now. Let's see what's going on with Google. Google stock delivers $350 billion to shareholders. Let's see here. Okay, according to Forbes, as of January 20th, yesterday, this article's out yesterday. Over the past 10 years, Google has provided an incredible $357 billion to its investors in the form of cash through dividends and stock buybacks. This level of capital distribution is a testament to the sheer scale of the company's free cash flow. It marks a decade of dominance where Google didn't just grow its market cap, but actively shared its success with those who invested in its vision. Separately, we'll skip that. Let's examine some figures and see how the distribution strength compares to the largest capital returning entities in the market. Interestingly, Google stock ranks third largest contributor to shareholders in history. All right, let's see here. Okay, Google 15 billion compared to the S&P median 4.5. Why should this matter to you? Because dividends and share repurchases provide direct, tangible returns of capital to investors. They also indicate management's trust in financial health of the company and its capacity to produce sustainable cash flows. Additionally, there are other stocks that follow this trend. Below is a list of the top 10 companies rated by the total capital return to stakeholders through dividends and stock buybacks. Okay, so when I scroll down, these companies will directly impact your net worth. Okay, so there's a lot of things I used to focus on that didn't impact my net worth. Nowadays, I lock in on things that actually matter to my net worth. So let's scroll down and see what things can impact your net worth immediately. Let's check the list of companies. Apple, Microsoft, Google, ExxonMobil, I think WFC is Wells Fargo, Meta, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Oracle, and CVX is, what is CVX? I forget what company CVX is. Okay, let's see. Total money return as percentage of current market cap. Let's see here. Via dividends, via share repurchases. Okay, so if you're looking to grow your net worth, consider the companies on this list. Apple, Microsoft, Google, ExxonMobil, Wells Fargo, Meta, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Oracle, and somebody drop what CVX is. What company is CVX? Drop it in the chat. Let me ask the AI, actually. Let me ask the AI. What company is CVX? It is Chevron. Okay, CVX is Chevron. Okay, Chevron. What stands out here? The overall capital return to investors as a percent of the current market cap seems inversely related to growth potential for reinvestment opportunities. Companies such as Meta, Microsoft are expandingly at a significant faster and more predictable pace than others, yet they have returned a small proportion of their market valuations to shareholders. Okay, then goes over some Google metrics. Okay, Google, one of the top companies in the world. Okay, a very interesting article here from Forbes on Google. Okay, let's go back. Let's check some other headlines from Forbes. See what else Forbes has for us. All right, we just read this article on Musk earlier. All right. I saw this the other day. OpenAI brings ads to ChatGPT as costs mount. Okay. OpenAI has got to look for revenue streams. Okay, they got to start making money. Okay, some other headlines here from Forbes. Okay, you can check out Forbes on your own time. Interesting article on Musk and Google from Forbes. Okay. All right. Any comments or questions? Drop them in the chat. Let's take another live look at the market. Let's go to chat. Let's go to maybe I pull up Copilot. Let me share Copilot. Okay. What are current prices of the indexes? S&P currently at just under 6,800. Dow Jones 48.4. NASDAQ just under 23,000, 22,954. Russell 2645. Okay. And then Copilot talks about S&P, Toronto Stock Exchange 32,750, Brazil, Europe, and some other ones. Okay. What are your favorite tickers? What are your favorite indexes? If you have any tickers you want us to look up together, let's look them up. Let's look them up. Let me go to Google. Drop a ticker you want us to look up in the chat. Let's go to Google. Any tickers you guys want? Actually, there's one I wanted to look up. I mentioned earlier. AMD. You might have noticed AMD is on fire. AMD chart. Let's take a look at AMD. Share screen. AMD chart. Okay, shot up today. Let's see. AMD up almost 6% today to 245. Okay, 245.68 for AMD. AMD last week it was shot up a lot. Let's see here. 1 month. Okay, last week on. Let's see here. Even between the 30th and the 20th. So on the 13th it was 220, and then a week later on the 20th it was 231. Now it's 246. So AMD is on the move. AMD is on the move. Okay, I also wanted to look up BTC Bitcoin chart. Let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Currently 87.8. Okay, let's check the 1 month chart on Bitcoin. 1 month chart on Bitcoin. Okay, early January it's 88. Okay, so it's almost flat. Year to date, it's actually pretty much flat year to date. Okay, it got up as high as 96.1 back on the 15th, 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Okay, currently 87.8. Okay. All right, let's take a look at ASTS. Let's look at ASTS. AST Space Mobile. Okay, currently 144. Down 10% today. Down 10% today. Okay, 1 day down 10%. 5 days down 10%. Okay, 1 month down 16%. Okay, am I reading this right? 6 months is down 77%. Is that right? October to 95. Current price 100. Year to date down 20%. Is that making sense? 1 year just says down 335%. Max, okay, it's still up. And summer 2024, $32, $33. Now it's triple that. 5 day, 10%, 1 day. Okay, AST Space Mobile. Publicly traded satellite designer and manufacturer based in Midland, Texas. Company is building the Space Mobile Satellite Constellation, a space-based cellular broadband network designed to connect directly to standard unmodified smartphones. Okay, stock price, AST, Space Mobile. Okay. What else? Any other tickers you guys want to look up? Drop it in the chat. That's ASTS right there. Let me check my watch list right quick. Let me check my watch list. Okay, so one I got my eye on is also Netflix. I got my eye on. Meta, I got my eye on. AMD, I got my eye on. ExxonMobil is an interesting one. Let's check out what's going on with XOM. XOM. 133.17. 5-day up 4.5%. 1 month up 13% almost. 6 month up 23.25%. Okay, I remember when. Let's see here. Maybe 1 year ago. I remember ExxonMobil would trade between 1 and 120. Maybe go back 5 years. 99 back at the end of 23. Between 100 and 120 for until recently. Yeah, for about 2 years there, I was trading between 100 and 120. Oh, 52-week high, 133.61 right there. 52-week low, 97.80. Does pay a 3% dividend. Okay, ExxonMobil. All right. Okay, what do you guys think about ExxonMobil? ExxonMobil, I believe, top 15 company, top 20 company in the world. Okay, that's ExxonMobil. All right, let's see what else we got. Another interesting one I got my eye on is Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's pulled back a lot. 5-day down 5%, 1 month 8%, 9%, 6 months 13%. Year-to-date down. Let's go on the 5-year. Okay, so check the 5-year chart right there. As high as 520, 530, I think 540 after last earnings. It's pulled back a lot. Next week they report. We'll see what happens next week. I think it was after hours they got up to 540, 550, but they pulled back. 517, 523, currently 442. Okay, 442. Yeah, right there, actually. 52-week high, 555. 52-week low, 344. Another one I keep my eye on. Motley Fool, another good resource. This could be one of the best tech stocks to hold for the next 10. Okay, I'm a Microsoft product user, so I got to be a Microsoft owner. I use several of their products, so I got to be an owner. All right, let's check the comments. Let's see. Question from the chat. Would you buy some Oklo at 87.87? Oklo's currently 87.59. Me personally, no, I would not buy Oklo at 87, but I would consider selling some puts on it or even the covered strangle on Oklo. So those of you that know options, I'd consider buying something in the 70s maybe, or if I had shares, I'd run the covered strangle. Jen says, would you buy some Microsoft now before earnings? I just bought some Microsoft. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I bought a lot 3 weeks ago. I bought more 2 weeks ago. I dollar cost average Microsoft every week. I'm not buying any more before next week's earnings, but I'm slowly building out my position. I'm not going to purposely buy more, probably not before next week. I still have a good, sizable position in Microsoft, so I'll just dollar cost average in the meantime. All right, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today, what did we discuss? We discussed what's going on in Davos, discuss Elon Musk's new net worth, discussed some earnings, including Netflix. What else did we discuss? Some scheduling. We discussed, took like a few YouTube shorts. So we'll meet again next week, Wednesday, noon Eastern. Next week will be a key week in the market. So we'll discuss that next Wednesday. My name's Errol, and I'll check you out next Wednesday. Peace.